everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's the new year and it's the perfect time to start making plans for yourself and things you hope to do in the year. By the way, happy new year everybody. I hope you all are having a great start to your year. For me, it's been an amazing few days and I'm super pumped and super excited to kick off the year. So that's why I'm making this video where I'm going to be sharing with you how I plan my year. So it's 2022 now and I've been trying to do this consistently for the last few years. So I thought it would be nice to share with you all the process that I take in creating the plan for a new year. And I use a tool called Notion. So I'm going to be showing you the process and how it worked for me in the last year and why I want to continue doing this every single year. Now I'm in a bit of a middle between creating goals or calling these things that I'm creating goals and creating systems, because for me personally I like to do both. Other people would say goals works for them, other people might just stick with creating systems. I'm going to explain the difference between both of them in the course of the video. Before we get into setting of the goals and me showing you my process for doing that, I just want to talk a bit about goals versus systems. Now we're all familiar with the fact that every year people make new year resolutions. Everybody starts off their new year with things that they hope to do, goals that they hope to achieve by the end of the year, and that totally works. That's fine. But in the long run, what I see happening is, personal experience included, is when you start off your year very excited and you set a goal, in the course of the year you actually just forget about it and you don't actually achieve it, and you end up feeling like a failure at the end of the year when you go back and review the things that you said you were going to achieve at the beginning of the year but you didn't. And now this is just as a result of not setting up systems that would help you achieve those goals. So I'm now of the opinion that if you're setting goals, you also need to have systems in place that would help you achieve these goals. And that's the new way that I'm taking, or the new process that I'm using to set goals going forward. I don't know if I should still call them goals or systems, but the idea is, if you have goals or you have things that you like to achieve at the beginning of the year, you can go ahead to do that. Set them, have them down, write them down, but don't just stop there. Also create systems on the side that would also allow you achieve these goals. So what are goals and what are systems? For me, I like to think about goals as the results that you'd like to achieve, so you set goals for them, while systems are what you put in place to make those results happen, to make those results achievable. So it's important that you know that in addition to creating goals, you should also have systems in place that will help you, achieve these goals. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So let me take you through the process of how I set my goals and the systems that I'm going to be putting in place to help me achieve them. In Notion, I track a lot of stuff that I use for my personal life and my work. And I've made a previous video where I showed how I use Notion for tracking everything in my life. In case you're interested in that video, I'm going to link it in the description. But for today's video, we're going to be tracking and setting goals for 2022. Now, I kind of feel like I've created a system that allows me to do this every year. Now, I've been tracking my goals with Notion for the last 5 years, and for me, every year there is always something new that I add to it. So let's see exactly how I'm going to be setting the one for 2022. So for 2022, my goal or my word for the year is impact and increase. And I always try to set a word for the year that I can stick to. And I'm looking forward to making more impacts through the work that I'm doing. I'm also looking forward to increasing my value, my worth in every ramifications, both financial, both physical. Just making more increase and more impact is my word for this year. And in this Notion template that I created, how I did mine is I have like generic goals first of all, and these are centered in 3 areas of my life. So I set goals that are very smart and actionable, and in I set goals that are very smart and actionable in my life, in my career, in my finance. And then I go ahead to break these goals into, quarterly goals that I can achieve for every quarter. Now, an example of a smart and actionable goal is a goal that is time bound, that is specific, and that is actionable. This is an example that I actually added here. I said I want to be fit and lose around 10 kg by December 2022. Now, this is a very actionable goal and it's time bound as well because I added the time frame for when I want this to be achieved. Now, goals, like I mentioned earlier, are great, but it's also great to also have like a system in place for me to make this work. And a system, for example, that I can add to this goal is to always track my eating, using an app, which I'm currently doing now, or going to the gym every day or at least 3 times in a week. Those are systems that you then go ahead to set to make this goal work for you. So that's an example of goals and systems, right? I also have something I call monthly review that I do at the end of every month. At the end of every month, I want to review the goals and intention, and it's kind of a way to check that I'm actually doing what I set to do at the beginning of the year. So at the end of the month, I'm going to go ahead and write down 3 things that went very well for me, 3 things that did not go well but I should improve. What am I going to improve? I'm going to pen them down and also write down what I learned that month. So I'm going to be doing that every month at the end of the month, just so that I'm checking and keeping track of the goals that I've set for myself. In addition to the monthly review, I also would go ahead and do like a quarterly review. So for Q1, remember that I set goals for Q1. So for Q1, I'm going to go back and review those goals and see what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well. So I'm going to go ahead and write down my thoughts on what I enjoyed and the things that I achieved for that quarter, things that I learned that quarter, and things that I could have done better. So I do that at the end of every quarter, and in a way I already set up a process that would work for me, because remember that I'm already reviewing my monthly, I'm already reviewing my goals every month, so it's easy for me to just go back, look at them, look at the thoughts that I penned down, and add that to my Q1 review. So that's the process that I've set for myself to help me plan 2020, also including the goals that I want, the processes that I'm going to be following to make them work, and also including systems that would help me achieve these goals, and also tracking them, because it's important to track the goals. Otherwise, you just set them at the beginning of the year and forget about them. So that's the system that I'm currently using. Now that I've showed you all how I set my goals on Notion, I actually just showed you like 1% of the work, because the main work goes into you actually doing or achieving these things that you've penned down. And what would really make you achieve them is if you also set up systems that would allow you to do them. Now remember, goals are great. It's good to set New Year resolutions and every other thing, but the actual work you actually put into making them work is what really matters. And for me, I'm going to be looking out for processes that would help me seamlessly achieve the goals that I have set up. And that's a wrap for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Remember that I have the template linked in the description in case you're interested in using it as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.